Hello everyone, welcome back. Good evening. Look at the rise we are currently having. It's moving up as we speak, and this is just perfect. The triangle that I drew maybe a month ago now, it's looking more and more like it's going to be filled as the triangle that it was designed to be, and it's no big deal, predicting stuff out here on the channels, is part of the reason why you subscribe, right? Alright, cool. Charging my phone while I stream because I'm not going to use it. Bitcoin's current price is currently 75,630 something. We're approaching the second resistance level right now as we speak. Or the first one, actually. Sorry, I'm mixing up my numbers. I'm thinking of Ethereum. We'll talk about Ethereum next. But this is a decent rise so far. Will we slow down here? I mean, we might, because, I started streaming and I'm already bull talking, so whoa. Anyways, yeah, if it does slow down here, it's fine. It is what it is. But I do still expect it to eventually, at least hit 78,892. That's basically 79,000, but you might as well hit 80,000 while you're up there, you know what I'm saying? And we have a major event coming up on Wednesday that we'll be able to go over and discuss. So yeah, that's the major move for today. Lovely. I like it so far. Oversold. Sorry, overbought. Jeez, my brain. I'm getting my cortisol spiked a lot at work. And yeah, that's it. Nothing much else. But yeah, so great move so far for Bitcoin. Lovely. I still expect it to continue to rise. Supertron spiking up right now at 69,371. No signs of stopping yet. So, I mean, if I was to guess where it would slow down at, the obvious answer would be 70,000, where the uptrend would invalidate. Hence, we can probably delete this for now. I don't see why we should be dropping. We are rising. Why are we rising? Because the military spending in the Middle East is costing a lot of money and inflation. So inflation good for Bitcoin, because it's the hedge against inflation. That's the real logical answer that we can really provide to all this. Counterintuitively to, every other time there has been a war in the Middle East, we've made a crazy bottom on Bitcoin. And I mean, we didn't really celebrate as soon as it started. As soon as it did start, Bitcoin crashed, as you'll recall right over here, 3%. And then Khamenei died, and then we're like, okay, war is won, right? This should end soon, right? Right? And here we are now. Will the war end soon? I don't think it will. But it's still just it's gonna be in the background for a while, but it's not as impactful as it once was before. How much worse can this war truly get? Like, what's the big impact on the price for the war? The only thing that could happen with this war is that it will end. And if it escalates, I mean, we all die. Who cares, right? But the thing is that people are looking at this and thinking, you know what, I think this war is going to come to a conclusion pretty soon. Whether that involves boots on the ground, that's up to the United States and their lovely brains that they've got if they decide to do that. I don't know. I'm against that, but okay, if that's what they want for a regime change, okay. They said it's not about regime change anymore. They said it's not about the nuclear sites anymore. Now they're saying it's the energy prices. And that's also, that narrative has taken hold and gone too far. Look at Hyperliquid alone, $40 already. Yeah, we're going to get there, don't worry. So that's what's been going on geopolitically and the impact on the prices of Bitcoin, not the crisis of Pitcoin. Anyway, so that's great. I'm almost at a break even. Oh, dude, I'm about to see some green numbers soon. Hey, let's not jinx it, okay? And even if we do get here, I promised that I would sell it. Will I actually sell it, though? I'm probably going to put a stop loss and, see if it does continue rising. I don't think it will, and I wouldn't be surprised if I immediately get stopped out. So I'll be fine with it, though. I'll just continue DCAing as we go down, because I don't think that the bull... I don't think that the bull market has started. No. The bear market has ended. No. I still think we're in a bear market nonetheless, because you do have to zoom out. Yeah, this is a great rise we're having, and if you look at the 1 minute chart, you think this is going to 1,000,000, but no, my friends. We still have some stuff to worry about Main thing is the downtrend line that we're currently seeing, which that happens to hit right on a Wednesday, right at 80,000. Too perfect to ignore. I think we're going to see a bit of a slowdown there this week. So caution. Now, if we do break out of that because Bitcoin is Bitcoin and it has no roof, then you could expect Bitcoin to rise on a best case scenario to something like 93,200. As of right now, that's what I see in the weekly chart resistance, where bear market would invalidate. Will the bear market invalidate that easily, that quickly? It's only been 133 days. How many months is that? 4.5 months. I'm pretty sure a bear market lasts a little longer than that, maybe 8 months to a year, right? So I don't think that we're necessarily going to end the bear market here and start a fresh new bull run right off the bat, because we do have midterms to worry about, but we also have the Clarity Act on our side. When is that going to happen, hey? But, I mean, for now, let's just celebrate the fact that a war is going on, and yeah, because that's how cynical people are, but okay. Just part of the growth, I guess. Worse stuff have happened. I mean, people literally trade defense stocks and go to war, so hey, don't blame me, alright? I'm just part of the crypto journey out of the whole aspect of it. Yeah, so that's that. Let's get into the other cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin's still rising. Ethereum is just mooning right now. 2,360 is the current price. We topped out at the second resistance level, completely ignoring the first one, by the way, 2,280. We just hit 3,384 as our highest. That's where we have that second resistance. Can we continue rising? Yeah, absolutely. And I marked 2,500 for a reason. I do feel like that would be the 80,000 equivalent to Bitcoin and its rise. And so far, Ethereum has been having a fantastic rise. 9% up overall today. Really, really good. Super trend still spiking upward as well. Invalidates at 2,093. It's going to probably slow down at 2,100 something, obviously. What exactly that number is going to be, no one knows. Did I just slap my mic? That was an accident, I promise. Moving on, Solana. Right there, following what Bitcoin is kind of doing. I wanted to say, like, you know, looking at the price right now, $95 and Bitcoin at $75, it seems like every 1,000 that Bitcoin moves, Solana moves $1. Wouldn't that make sense? You know, Solana 90,000, Bitcoin 70,000. Solana 95, Bitcoin 75. What about Solana 100, Bitcoin 80,000? Would that still play out? I want to say Solana is a more volatile coin and it should rise a little more, but it's not doing that for whatever reason. Still up 4%. It should be up like 12% today, but nobody cares about Solana. Okay, one day its day shall come, and even still, like, despite this low volatility, we did hit a high of $97.60 today. That's something, and, I mean, Bitcoin didn't hit 77,000 yet, if we're going to go by that logic that I gave you, that analogy at the beginning, so I do think that the volatility is still there. It's just encapsulated for whatever reason, and it hasn't really popped off yet, so we're waiting for that on Solana. And when it does, I do feel like it will absolutely blow out of this downtrend line, make a high above 100. This is what it should do, by the way, something like this, and then ultimately continue its way down, and we would have to readjust this downtrend line a little bit. I don't remember if I drew this exact same thing last stream. I mean, so far this downtrend line has been behaving quite well. We might get something like that. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. But that's just up to the crypto gods to decide, not me. So, I mean, yeah, so far overall, great for Solana. I'm not complaining, but come on, it can do much better. I feel a bit underwhelmed by it. You got Hyperliquid just making moves like this, and it's like, yeah, this is the move, right? You can't go wrong with Hyperliquid is what it seems like. $40.59 right now. Highest we hit was $41.42. Little to no resistance was met at 40, right? We did approach it earlier today, and I mean, we hit 39, 50, 60, but ultimately we didn't really break out of it until just the past couple hours, and we're on our way up to 44 right now. I do feel like we do have the strength to continue that move, because yeah, we're overbought right now, but the momentum on Bitcoin, I do expect it to continue rising as well to around 80,000. So I do expect Hyperliquid to also make a move to $44. If not for Bitcoin, it would be for crude oil volume. So yeah, that's my expectation for it. How much more perfect can a chart look than BitTensor right now? Look at that high point, right at $300 flat. Well, that's just art, I guess. Can we put this on a frame? Like, can we put this on merch or something? Like, this is just too perfect. But anyway, 300 peak for BitTensor, nice. Current price $279.77, not too bad. It's been rising prematurely compared to the rest, so wouldn't surprise me if we actually slow down a little bit for BitTensor compared to the rest. AI narrative was what was, pushing it up ahead for the beginning. The initial breakout above 200, right? Up to 300, great. If we are to continue higher, though, how much higher can we go? 323, 363, 387. Ultimately, 435. Yeah, I don't think we're going too much higher than that, but yeah, I think for now we should relax with BitTensor a little bit. If we just lateralize it around here for a moment, before we can, allow the rest of the market to relax, catch up, and see what happens. SUI, $1.05. We hit a high of $1.08. Where is my $1.30? Same deal, I guess, with SUI. The expected volatility is not there. It's not making the big boy move. I need to see that happen. I have faith it will still happen eventually. If we see Bitcoin hit 80,000, I think a move like that is absolutely possible. But like I said, it's up to the Bitcoin gods. They don't want to move Solana or SUI. So what's going on? Well, we hit this level a bit too prematurely on Chainlink. Why did you have to rise 5% like that? 994. I thought 80,000 equivalent would be right here at the $10 mark. Seems like we hit that a bit too fast. A little too fast, right? Unprecedented move. Hey, I'm not complaining. This is great for Chainlink. Buying at $8, $7 was indeed the move, is what it seems like. I don't know. I don't agree with the $7 part. I was saying like $8 seems like always has been a floor for Chainlink, but then you got this elephant in the room, this oddball, this mistake of a crash. What do you even call this? A fake out? Dropping to what? $7.13, an astronomically low price. But anyway, things pay off in the end to people that are patient. So good for you, I guess. I'm going to delete this to no longer embarrass myself and pretend it never happened. Hey, I was kind of right, okay? I still predicted the move upward and I deleted the downtrend line. It was obvious that we were going to move up, so that's great. 1028 is the next resistance level for you if you care. And I guess the last coin, not by force, but because I do not have Litecoin or Monero anymore. Why? But anyways, Hedera. There we go. Told you it was a fake out. Uptrend back up here. It didn't make sense for Hedera to be in a downtrend while the rest is just moving upward, and I'm also expecting Bitcoin to hit 80,000. For what? For what would Hedera go into a downtrend other than, I don't know, the dev team resigning? Do they even have a dev team? What does Hedera even do? I just heard it's good because they're American and American company and, what even is Hedera? Can we do like a deep dive study on it one day? One of these days I probably will. And it's just up here. It's number 23. For what? Wyoming's first state stable token. I guess they do RWAs or something. I'm just gonna stop guessing before I embarrass myself. Okay, what would affect the future price? Sure. Okay, literally RWA. Yeah, I did have a feeling it was about that. ETF inflows, regulation. Right, they're also having... Everything's getting an ETF. I think that's like a necessity at this point. Like, if you don't have an ETF for your crypto, what are you doing? Enterprise-grade governance with a council including Google, IBM, and Standard Bank provides institutional trust. Recent RWA use cases like Wyoming state-issued FRNT stablecoin. I do remember this. Launching on Hedera. It demonstrates practical utility. Yeah, because of one stablecoin. Yes. Awesome. So much utility. It shows them leading in RWA developer activity versus rivals like Chainlink, Avalanche, signaling structural build-out. Hey, if you say so. The whole circulating supply... Sorry, the whole supply is in circulation. Most of it, at least. 43 billion out of the 50 billion max. I don't think you got to worry too much about inflation. And, I mean, what do you call this chart pattern? Hey, can we, like, zoom out a bit more? Ooh, that inflation does not look good. Never mind. I mean, I would assume that there was less in circulation back then, up until whatever this is. Because price was just as high with less money in it. That's how you tell there's inflation on here. But okay, I guess that's Hedera for you. Good. Uptrend for it. I haven't mentioned the price because I don't know how to read this. 10,072, okay? Uptrend. Yeah, this is the uptrend that we will be following now. So enjoy it while you can. We're at the resistance right now. We can break out another 3%, 3.5%. Absolutely expected to, you know, recent high point that we've hit over here in the past. Absolutely doable. Okay, great. Good for them. Is there anything else that is... highest volume pair? Can I... Yeah. It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, storage. What is this? LDO, is that Lido? Ethereum, USDC. I'm stopping USDC use. Why is Hyperliquid not one of the bigger tops? Aave, I've heard Aave getting back into the talks again. All right, yeah, that's enough. That's enough. Okay, let's get into the news. We've got a lot to talk about today. Oh, is there anything fresh? CEO of Coca-Cola received a couple $1 million in compensation last year. Hey, can I get some of that? Please? Help a brother out? Donate like 1 million? Trump made some remarks on Iran. He again threatened to strike Iran's Karg Island oil terminals. He can knock those out in 5 minutes if we decide to. Who's we? More than 30 mine-laying ships have been destroyed. Numerous countries have told me they are on the way. I'll be talking about those countries, at least the ones that are not on the way. And he strongly encourages other nations to help on Hormuz. He encourages other nations to come and help us. Numerous countries have told me they're on the way. Why am I reading this twice? Won't share which nations will help so that they're not targeted. Iran is paper tiger. That's why I've not heard about this. Because I found a lot of countries that were... Is my OBS dying? And we're good, apparently. So I was saying that I don't know... I wasn't sure why we weren't seeing which countries were willing to help. And why I was seeing a lot of countries that were not willing to help. Which we're going to be discussing that right now. Is what the title of the stream is. So... First of all, a bit of humor. Strait of America? Yeah, let's just rename it to that. The Strait of Hormuz to the Strait of America. Yes. I approve. You have my stamp of approval. So the first countries to come out and be against it were Germany and Greece, ruling out military involvement in the Strait of Hormuz. Maybe because they don't want to be targeted. Maybe because Germany, well, they're scared. They will not participate with its military in securing the Strait of Hormuz, says the defense minister Pistorius. What does Trump expect a handful of European frigates to do that the world... Wait, what? To do what that the powerful US Navy cannot? This is not our war. We did not start it. Okay, pal. We will remember this when inevitably Russia takes over Europe. You're like, oh, this is not our war. Why should we help Ukraine? It's not our war. Why should we help Israel? It's not our war. Why should we help Taiwan? It's not our war. But there is reasons why we should help them, so... You know, Taiwan for the semiconductors, things like that, you know. There's always a special reason why. But, yeah, I mean, so much for NATO participation, I guess. Hey, an attack on one is an attack on all? I guess not anymore. What is that, Article 5 that they call it? Nobody really cares. Australia, L for Australia. They said that they will not send Navy ships to the Middle East to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Scared. Chicken. Have fun dealing with, never mind. Japan says it is not planning to send Navy ships to the Middle East to escort ships to through the Strait of Hormuz. Rare Japan L. That's not that good. At least they're exporting more oil, I guess, but I mean, I'm sure everybody is to take advantage of the high prices, and they're like, oh yeah, we're helping increase the supply to reduce the price, guys. Haha. We're totally not coming out here just for the money. All right. What's funny is that Trump did not even ask Canada to send ships to the Strait of Hormuz, allegedly. Canadian government confirms that they were never even asked to help in the Strait of Hormuz. Totally shut out. We don't even want Canada to help, says Trump. Separatedly, a retired Canadian general told the CBC that Canadian warships would be a liability. All right, pal. But what we do have the opinion of is whatever's happening on Lebanon. Nobody knows what's happening on Lebanon, but Canada, alongside France, Germany, Italy, UK, expressed grave concern over the escalating conflict in Lebanon and calls for immediate de-escalation by all parties. They're just like holding a sign in the air saying, stop war, but nobody's... What is that going to do? It's not going to achieve anything, in my opinion. China also issues a statement after President Trump requested that they would join his military coalition to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Same kind of response from China. Classic. China once again calls on all parties to immediately cease military operations. Guys, just stop the war. You know what? Yeah, it would be great if they would just stop the war, but, I mean, how are they going to do it? They're not just going to, yeah, you know what? This is boring. Let's just stop going to war. Let's just lay down our arms and, we won't blow up ships in the Strait of Hormuz again. No, I guess, like, nobody trusts each other in this, and we're in a very tight, environment. We're in a tight... What do you call it? I'm missing out on the word. Yeah, whatever. We're in a very strange time where nobody trusts you. Tension. Very high tension. That's the word I'm looking for. Tensions are high, so, you can't really let your guard down, and, they don't want to be the first people to lay down their arms because it leaves them vulnerable, especially in a critical point like this. Now, about the China meeting with Trump in April, seems like that is going to be postponed. Trump said that he asked China to delay his summit with Xi Jinping at the start of April by around a month while he deals with the war in Iran. Hey, confirmed, it will not last longer than a month. And we're like 2-3 weeks in now. But okay, I guess another month. Trump says, we're speaking to China. Because of the war, I want to be here. I have to be here, I feel. And so we've requested that we delay it a month or so, Trump told reporters in the Oval Office. Yep, so we're delaying it. At least for a month. At least we know that it won't last longer than a month. Hopefully not, because they better meet up. They promised that they would, especially after the big issue of October 10, where everything crashed because we put 100% tariffs on China. Yeah. I don't know. In my opinion, that still feels like a big excuse. Like, there's no reason for us to crash 80% on everything for a 100% tariff. Something that's been done worse before. We've seen higher tariffs on China. But still. I guess it caught everyone off guard, but that's still not a good enough reason, in my opinion. Zelensky commenting about Reza Pahlavi. Apparently they reached out and talked about Iran's future. He thinks most ordinary Iranians, regular civilians, are done with the regime and just want a normal free life. Then why aren't they uprising and taking over? I guess they're scared now that the IRGC is doubling down. Crown Prince in exile, Reza Pahlavi announces a plan to replace the Iranian government. How old is this? It's 2 days old. The transitional system under my leadership will be ready to assume governance of the country as soon as the Islamic Republic falls, and in the shortest possible time establish order, security, freedom, and the conditions for Iran's prosperity and flourishing. You better act quick, pal. We want this war to end. This one was interesting. Big if true in Ecuador. Less than a week after meeting with Trump, Ecuador President Daniel Noboa, has dispatched armored troop carriers to arrest narco-terrorists, dead or alive. Yeah, because it is a big problem over there. So, get something done. Yeah. Whoops. Where's the follow button? Why is there a subscribe button? I'm not paying for that. All right. Trump is doing this thing again. I love this meme so much. It's so good. All right. Here's okay. Do we read this? Get ready. Trump posted this Bible, another Bible, on Truth Social. 2 of them. Old Testament and New Testament. So get ready. The courts treat Republicans and me so unfairly, always seeming to protect those who should not be protected. They are highly politicized. Cases don't matter. The judge does. As an example, how is this absolutely terrible Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Too Late Powell not even allowed to be investigated for the horrible job he does? How is he allowed to be billions of dollars over budget and years behind schedule on the simple renovation of the small Federal Reserve complex in Washington, D.C., where he created an absolute disaster, a money pit, an embarrassment to our country for the whole world to see? It is a little project that has been under construction for many years. The contractor on the job, along with Powell, should also be heavily investigated, in that it is impossible for a professional to have such enormous cost overruns. It is the highest priced building per square foot of any project ever built, with no end in sight, and may not even be open for many years to come. I strongly criticize Jerome Too Late for his horrible performance throughout his tenure, which is either gross incompetence, total dishonesty, or both, and in return for this well-justified criticism, get viciously and wrongfully blamed by, as usual, a wacky, nasty, crooked, and totally out-of-control judge named James Boasberg, a man who suffers from the highest level of Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, and has been after my people and me for years. The D.C. Circuit eagerly supported the arrest and persecution of innocent Republicans for no crimes at all, but is now preventing even a basic investigation into the gross financial mismanagement of the Federal Reserve. In case after case, Boasberg has displayed open, flagrant, and extreme partisan bias and contempt against Republicans in the Trump administration. To preserve the integrity of the judiciary, he should be removed from all cases pertaining to us, and suffer serious disciplinary action, as should numerous other corrupt judges that unfortunately our country has had to endure. What Boasberg has done on the Too Late Powell case and many others has little to do with the law and everything to do with politics. He is exactly what judges should not be. Boasberg would do better to focus on justice and fairness, not his own and the Democrats' political agenda, which has become legendary. Much like prosecutor, deranged Jack Smith, and many others, Boasberg is a disgrace, as was his predecessor to our legal process and our highly politicized court system, which was just witnessed firsthand by the unfortunate and unwarranted tariff decision recently handed down by the United States Supreme Court, which was a gift to countries and companies who have been ripping off the United States of America for decades at levels never seen before. Wow. My neck hurts. Wow, so we're immediately criticizing Jerome Powell and the corrupt judges, I guess, from this. Putting pressure on the guy. Come on, we don't want to upset Jerome Powell here, okay? We need him to be extra dovish so that we can hit 80,000. Please, the meeting is on Wednesday. Relax, Trump. But I mean, he's kind of right on all of this other stuff with the Supreme Court, the judges, all that stuff. I don't know much about this. What's his name again? Boasberg? Never heard of the guy. Maybe if I see his face. James Boasberg. Yeah, never seen this guy. Apparently he has TDS. Alright, cool. Next, Testament. The decision that mattered most to me was tariffs. The court knew where I stood, how badly I wanted this victory for our country, And instead, they decided to potentially give away trillions of dollars to countries and companies who have been taking advantage of the United States for decades. I agree with that. Our Supreme Court has made these countries very happy, but as the court pointed out, I have the absolute right to change tariffs in another form, and I've already started to do so. So tariffs just continue, basically. The hundreds of billions of dollars that our adversaries want our country to pay back to others that have disrespected the USA until I came along should be marked down in the eyes of the public as just another reason why the United States had been in such major decline. But not anymore, because we have made America great again, and very soon it will be greater than ever before. I want to thank Justices Alito, Thomas, and Kavanaugh for their wisdom and courage, the 3 judges that voted in favor of Trump's tariffs, by the way, pertaining to the tariff case, and for understanding, in addition to the law, that our unfriendly competitors should not be reimbursed and rewarded for the decades of damage they have caused the United States of America. I will fight hard to make sure that this does not happen. The Democrats on the court always stick together no matter how strong a case is put before them. There is rarely even a minor waiver. But Republicans do not do this. They openly disrespect the presidents who nominate them to the highest position in the land, a justice of the United States Supreme Court, and go out of their way with bad and wrongful rulings and intentions to prove how honest, independent, and legitimate they are. The Democrat justices just vote Democrat. They always stick together. Our country was unnecessarily ransacked by the United States Supreme Court, which has become little more than a weaponized and unjust political organization. The sad thing is, they will only get worse. They wouldn't even call out the rigged presidential election of 2020 because they said that I, as President of the United States, did not have standing to challenge it. And now, with time, it has been conclusively proven to be stolen. And look what happened to our wonderful nation by allowing a grossly incompetent man, Sleepy Joe Biden, to be our president. End quotes. This completely inept and embarrassing court was not what the Supreme Court of the United States was set up by our wonderful founders to be. They are hurting our country and will continue to do so. All I can do as president is call them out for their bad behavior. This statement about the United States Supreme Court will cause me nothing but problems in the future, but I feel it is my obligation to speak the truth. Thank you. Ooh. My neck hurts even more. Dude, I'm tired. Okay. Main takeaways from this. Yeah, I overall do agree, because I was in favor of these tariffs as well. But then I don't know. I don't know what the second half of this is all about. Literally just going on a rant for stuff about the past. Let's just move on, talk about the future. Okay, we now have these tariffs in our favor. And yeah, those guys suck for trying to mess it all up. But oh well. Okay, that's the little Trump update, I guess. Moving on to the numbers, the money. Pentagon's $11.3 billion Iran conflict bill shocks markets. A closed-door briefing just dropped a bombshell. The Pentagon burned through $11.3 billion in just 6 days of military action against Iran, with costs possibly climbing to $50 billion. History shows that tensions in oil-critical zones like the Strait of Hormuz often push investors toward alternative assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum during Middle East crises. The market is underestimating this seismic shift. I don't know if history really proves this. I'd like to beg to differ for that. This is the first time, in my opinion, that we're seeing, amidst a Middle Eastern conflict, Bitcoin and Ethereum rising, because we're actually seeing them as reserves of value, because we don't want to be holding dollars. The petrodollar is collapsing. They're trading oil in Chinese yuans now, and inflation is going out of the roof because we're spending too much on the military costs. It costs us a lot of money to make defenses, air defenses, against Iran's crazy attacks. And it's cheap for them to make missiles to attack us. So it's like, okay, this is a losing battle. This is an uphill battle. The next thing is, of course, we're also spending too much on useless stuff in the military. Yeah, we're trying to do what the United States thinks is attacking legitimate targets, but in reality, we're seeing the decoys. I'm going to keep bringing this up because it's so comical. These inflatable tanks and helicopters that look legit from an aerial view with this like black and white scanner satellite view. I don't know what it is that they use, and they will bomb it, and well, it was just a balloon. You spent millions of dollars to bomb a balloon. Congrats. And I mean, we're already seeing it with Israel. Their air defenses are also being depleted. Well, what are we going to do? We're going to have to spend more money to have them buy their, spend on their defenses to help them defend themselves. At this point, even with those cluster bombs that Iran is throwing at Israel, it's too much, and a lot of them are landing. So air defenses are just getting weaker, and we got to ramp up the spending for that. All of this, and especially with oil, let's not even get started about that, causes inflation. What's the best thing against inflation? Probably Bitcoin. And to prove myself right or wrong and embarrass myself live in front of you guys, I'm going to review the dollar index chart. I'm assuming it's going to be on its way down because that's what makes sense, right? No, because that would make sense. I mean, it's kind of on the rise. Why? Why is this on the rise? Whoops. That's not right. Oil. What is oil doing? Well, oil is kind of coming down. That's not actual movement. That was just me drawing stuff. Volatility index. Coming on its way down as well. Yeah, we did have some spikes before. Can I go back to dollar index? I don't know. Everything is kind of going all over the place. Gold is not rising. That's another thing that we were discussing before, is that maybe it's time for capital rotation to take effect. What, are you going to keep buying gold? How much more trillions can we dump into gold? Can we get at least one of those trillions into Bitcoin? If we do, that will double the market cap, essentially. By the way, it's becoming even more scarce as well right now. 20 million Bitcoins in circulation. You're going to say, yeah, but that's more than 19 million that it was last month. And you're right. But more people want it now. And there will only be 21 million. And it's going to take us, how many years? 120 more years until we mine the last Bitcoin. And I mean, we've already got 20 million of it. We only got 1 million left. There's only too many millionaires in the world that can afford a Bitcoin. What if they all want to afford one? What about when countries get involved? What about when China gets involved? The crypto arms race. That's why the United States should focus more on becoming the crypto capital of the world. I feel like they're not stressing that enough, especially at these low prices. Hey, you wanted to start the war to crash the price of Bitcoin? Congratulations, you did it. We've been in fear of that for 2 months, 3 months, and here we are now, potentially rising once again on Bitcoin's chart. And what, are we just gonna stop buying now? I feel like now is the time to be buying, if anything. I feel like institutions are also seeing this, ramping up the purchases while it's still cheap. But I still don't feel like we're out of the woods yet, because midterm elections, Clarity Act could be beneficial. Recession fears is still a thing. Let's not forget, we're not getting the rate cuts that we really want. We'll see what we can get from this upcoming meeting on Wednesday. We'll see what Jerome, too late Powell, has to say, which that guy is leaving soon as well. We're replacing him with Kevin Warsh. Not in this upcoming meeting, but in the next one, or the one after. Hold on. Come on. This chart takes forever to load. In June. He's coming in June, or something like that. May. After May. We're in March. Oh, he's almost gone. I can't believe we're already in March of 2026. Like, how fast has time gone by? Please load. I'm just gonna save my eyeballs for a sec. My head actually hurts from today because these darn people at work. But anyway. Yeah, we're not getting any rate cuts until maybe September. 60 to 30% chance, right? Odds in our favor. 75 to 25 in October. 99% chance that we do get a rate cut. So for sure we will have one rate cut by end of this year. That's what the Fed projected last year that would happen this year, and it's kind of playing out. But we didn't project, obviously, that there was going to be a war and that would be impacting inflation, and that the shutdown was going to hurt the GDP and the jobs data is going to suck. And then we're in this middle of the stagflation issue once again. Are we going to go into a recession? What do we sacrifice, inflation or jobs? Which one will fix itself first? It seems like inflation is this artificial pressure because of the war. I feel like that is under control outside of the war. So that's part of the reason why I also would like the war to end, because, I mean, all of this is to say, like, yeah, inflation is on the rise because of the war. And even if the war does end, like, we already see inflation on the way down. We have to save the jobs market. We have room to cut rates because we can afford to kick up inflation once again. Both those ways lead to more inflation, devaluing the US dollar, raising the price of risk assets such as Bitcoin. I feel like that's part of the reason why we should benefit from all this. But I don't know, some unprecedented, unexpected event or technical move, because all of my predictions here so far have been completely technical, despite the fact that, you know, fundamentally speaking, yeah, there's a war going on and this is actually terrible and Bitcoin should be crashing, but we're not. In anticipation for this event, FOMC meeting, what the rate cuts are going to look like. Also, can we talk about this? What is going on here? Like, 2027 December. What? A 14% chance? Like, why is this not here? Like, the blue should be here. I never seen this happen before. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I was going on such a roll there. Let's discuss this. Every major Middle East war has spiked oil, and this one is different, though. Here's why. 1973, Yom Kippur War. Arab embargo. Oil went from $3 to $12 a barrel. It went up 300%, and the Strait of Hormuz stayed open. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution. Iranian output collapsed 7%. We increased 200% the price of oil. The Strait of Hormuz stayed open, though. 1990, the Gulf War. Iraq invaded Kuwait. Oil nearly doubled to $39. The Strait of Hormuz, always open. 2003, war in Iraq. Prices actually fell after the invasion. The Strait of Hormuz stayed open. You see the pattern? Every prior conflict, the world's most critical oil choke point remained functional, but not this time. That's why it's different. Strait of Hormuz is now effectively closed. Traffic dropped from 70% reduction to near zero. That's 20% of the world's daily output of oil supply blocked. Brent oil spiked to $119.50 on March 9, its highest level since mid-2022. That's 65% higher since the war began. Iran is now threatening $200 a barrel. I think that's an exaggeration. Trump is weighing something no U.S. president has ever done, sending U.S. boots on the ground to physically seize Karg Island. This is in the 90s, the choke point is closed, ground troops are being considered, and the market hasn't fully priced any of this in yet. Could be the most consequential geopolitical moment in years. Could be bearish. That's why, you know, it's either we escalate the war like this, or the war just ends. And I think right now people are probably looking at, yeah, the war just ends, nothing ever happens, we're not going to do boots on the ground, right, Trump? Thumbs up. But maybe it does happen. Just maybe. Now, on the other side of things, with continued rumors swirling about the progress of the Iran-Israel-US conflict, Bitcoin jumped above 75K for the first time in 6 weeks. This bullish momentum has been enough to push FOMO to its highest level since January 2nd. That's also true. Let's not forget market sentiment here, right? We're at neutral. Dude, we're no longer in extreme fear. How fast sentiment changes like that. Last month we were at extreme fear. Last week we were at fear. And our lowest ever was -5, which is the lowest ever in history, I think. Even worse than Luna, even worse than FTX. Yeah, sentiment. According to Monday's social media data, there's a 1.67 bullish-bearish ratio of comments across X, Reddit, Telegram, and other platforms. More people being bullish. I mean, you're seeing Young Hoon Kim post about this. So, I mean, it's got to be something. He's the biggest retail flag of all time. Maybe it's time to be bearish because he's too bullish right now. Just saying. In spite of global uncertainty at the moment, traders are once again seeing crypto as a sector with rise potential in the coming weeks and months. I don't know what this suspicious link is. So, what do we got? Over $100 billion entered the crypto market today. Bitcoin and Ethereum leading the rally. We are so back. We're so back, it's so over. And short-term holders have sent over 37,500 Bitcoins to exchanges in the past 24 hours, marking the largest inflow since January 15. Is that bullish or bearish? Short-term holders sending Bitcoin into exchanges? Is that to sell it? Yeah, taking profits before you go to 50K. I don't know. Short-term holders. I think I'm kind of in that ballpark because I am also expecting to maybe exit soon. It's been a great ride, but every uptrend must end in a downtrend. There's no in between. So yeah, MicroStrategy making big buys as well. I'm surprised by these numbers for once. This is what I like to see. $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin purchased. 22,000 added at an average price of 70,194. And this is due to Stretch product gaining traction. That's nice. Hey, how much do they have now? Sailor. I'm sure he posts the holdings, right? He has to. He always does. We now have 761,068 Bitcoins. That's a lot of Bitcoins. I'm sure we had more than this, or I don't remember how much we had, but this is, yeah, this is good enough. This is really good. They're about to have 1 million Bitcoins. And then what? What are you going to do? Okay. On the other hand, Bitmine, also purchasing more Ethereum. They now have 4.596 million ETH. No, sorry, $1 million. What? Yeah. So $4 billion. Why do you have to do that? $4.5 billion after buying 61,000 Ethereum tokens over the past week. How much money is that, please? 61,000 Ethereum if each one costs. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's just say they bought it at 2,100. $128 million. Not bad. Could be better, but okay. They still have a 4.5 billion. That's pretty good. Now, to put it into perspective, the February 5th low, so 60,000, would be only 4 months into the bear market. Yeah, literally what I was explaining, the fact that, is the bear market over with this kind of a rise? I wouldn't really say so. I'd still exercise caution at these areas. Which would be extremely premature for a cycle bottom. The top to bottom, they typically last 12 months. Maybe we can get a briefer bear market this time, but 8 months shorter than the 12-month usual? Doubtful. It's good to keep a zoomed out perspective for Bitcoin. That's why I'm also a bit skeptical with this rise. I don't think we're going to moon immediately back to 100,000, although we can. But I really don't think so. Like, cyclically speaking, and yes, we still are technically following the 4-year cycle. I mean, ultimately, we are in a bear market. Yeah. We could take one more hit toward the downside. Whether we make a new low, that's another question to be answered. I wouldn't put it past it because, like, when Bitcoin crashes, it crashes, right? There's no stopping it. You're catching a falling knife. So you're better off just pray that you're not even in an open position. You better not even be opening positions as price is crashing, because even if you buy it, you're trying to time the bottom, and it's a very difficult task to do. In my humble opinion, it's best to let the thing crash as much as it has to. Even if it starts recovering a little bit, you're like, oh, I should have bought the bottom. I knew that was going to be the bottom. And then it just crashes even more. You're never going to know. Best way to confirm is wait till you get a confirmed uptrend. At least in the smaller time frames, you'll know that you've practically bottomed out temporarily, and arguably you are picking it back up at a good price. So I wouldn't mind it either way, especially if you're doing it as more of a long-term play. This is another concerning post. Bitcoin's electrical cost has dropped to $50,000. Bitcoin floor is dropping. What does this mean? It basically means Bitcoin's estimated electricity cost to mine one Bitcoin has dropped to $49,000 to $50,000, the red line at the bottom. I have my opinions on this, which I'll share. So the production cost for somebody to mine Bitcoin, in order for them to break even with the cost of electricity and everything, Bitcoin has to be at 61,000 or more for them to be positive, right? For it to be profitable to mine Bitcoin. The floor dropping means that miners can now stay profitable at lower Bitcoin prices than before. So the price support level for mining costs is filing. It could allow for more downside before big miner capitulation, which that is when miners are just selling at a loss here because they have to cover their electricity costs, and that just causes a massive amount of Bitcoin supply in circulation. You're adding more Bitcoin into circulation because the miners, the people that have the Bitcoin, are selling it on the open market, which crashes the prices. Okay, now my question is, aren't energy prices rising though? Isn't that one of our biggest concerns with this war right now? And another thing, I forgot. There was another one. No. Some other post was talking about this too. Yeah, lower electrical costs from cheaper power. Where? Efficiency gains or network adjustments means miners break even drops. So the floor price that they could tolerate a drop to drops as well. Okay, this could be part of the reason to continue toward the downside. Fair enough. But I mean, just move to Iran. It's literally free to mine Bitcoin there. Or, I don't know. Not literally free, by the way. It's just really cheap to mine Bitcoin. I'm sure there's like a chart that shows the cost of mining Bitcoin. Cost of mining Bitcoin world map. There was something interesting here. Here it is. This one. Can I just get the actual photo, please? Do not give me ads. Open image in new tab. Am I blind? Open link? I don't want to open link in new tab. Open image in new tab. Here we go. Love how that thing is still loading. All right. It's a bit blurry, but I guess we can still make out the numbers. In the USA, it costs $107,000 to mine a Bitcoin. Yeah, not anymore. Apparently that number has dropped to whatever. How old is this image? Must be pretty old. I don't know. Where is it cheapest? In South America, Argentina, $12,000 in energy costs to mine one Bitcoin. If one Bitcoin costs 75K, you've made profit, my friend. In Iran, I think it was Iran. Where is Iran? It's over here. Here's the number. Oh, I have to scroll up. Yeah, Iran is the cheapest place. I remember this one. It costs $1,000 in energy costs to mine a Bitcoin. That is a huge return. So my counter argument to this whole miner capitulation thing is just move to a different country. What, are you broke? Yeah. Russia's also pretty cheap. 39K. What is another cheapest one that I see? Ecuador is relatively cheap. 63K. No, it's not that bad. Other countries, it's all 100K plus. Bhutan is 9K. That's pretty good. Really good, actually. Ethiopia, 1.99K. How? I guess because there's literally nobody consuming energy there, so it's just free. I assume. I don't know. Syria is 4,000 almost. Every European country is like super expensive. That's how you know like these guys cannot rely on themselves. They have to import a lot of energy, LNG. That's all. That's why, you know, Trump is literally telling them, hey, with the Strait of Hormuz being in check, you guys are the biggest ones being affected by this. So we're going to drag you into this war, whether you like it or not. Come help defend the Strait of Hormuz. You need it more than we do. And, well, I mean, we're already seeing Germany's response to it. I was like, no, we don't want to do that. You guys started the war, so you finish it. Okay, you guys are literally going to pay the price, but, you know, your funeral. And crypto news, I guess. Sure, we'll go through this. Trending coins. Bitcoin. Large institutional scale Bitcoin accumulation by MicroStrategy. I talked about that. 1.5 billion. Are you kidding me? That is a lot of money. highlights the buy's potential to tighten available market supply. Yes. The role of equity-linked ATM programs in funding continued purchases and implications for price dynamics and liquidity. Concurrent retail conversations focus on everyday Bitcoin custody and security, best practices for moving Bitcoin between wallets, preferring non-custodial. Okay, that's just bogus. We already understand that. Ethereum. Large institutional staking and spot ETF activity tied to recent product launches with BlackRock's Ethereum staking ETF, which began trading on March 12. Really good. And other asset managers like Fidelity, alongside weekly ETF inflows, reportedly on social channels, prompted debate about staking yields, liquid staking providers, and custodial versus decentralized custody. Bitmine's big accumulation with Tom Lee, we've talked about that. Literally buying directly from the foundation, by the way. So they're helping. Vitalik on one hand is just selling, while Tom Lee is just buying all of it. He's eating all of it up. Probably for a good reason. Can we, like, change CEOs? I think Vitalik is too distracted by Asian women. we got to get the Asian guy himself in there who will be focused on the whole project. But I'm not sure. He's just an investor. I don't think he's good as a developer or a founder. But hey, whatever. Also Ethereum. Anyway. Solana. A surge in on-chain activity tied to high-profile NFT mints and secondary market auctions on Solana, combined with new DeFi protocol launches, has generated heavy social discussion about trading strategies for Solana and relative network economics. I'm happy that we're not mentioning meme coins for once whilst talking about Solana. Isn't that a good refresher? Like, you know, Solana's rising because Trump launched a meme coin. Okay. That's literally the reason, by the way, why Solana hit an all-time high last year. Because Trump launched his meme coin in January. Oh. Hey, help. Undo. There we go. That's not it. Here it is. 295 was our highest ever hit on Solana. And that was because January 19, if you look up the Trump meme coin, January 19, it is precisely when this thing launched. Again. Why does it do that? That's just such a useless feature. Anyway. Yep, January 18, 19, Trump meme coin launches, hits an all-time high, launches on Solana. It's literally in the name here on BingX, Trump Sol USDT, and boom, you know, part of the reason why. So it's good to see that Solana is just, you know, doing its thing on its own. Arguably, though, we're not seeing Solana have its good volatility that we like to see. That's because retail is not interested in meme coins right now. Maybe we do need some of that meme coin activity in Solana. But Solana obviously is more than just meme coins, and that's the point that I'm trying to get at over here. Like, we're expanding to DeFi, NFTs, all this other stuff. And also, you know, getting that partnership with Western Union, huge. I like that too. For the stablecoin that they launched. BitTensor, we've talked about BitTensor a lot with the AI token narrative, right? Rapid price gains, up 40 to 60%. Multiple subnet announcement registrations, dozens of subnet reporting, increased validator registration commitments, and higher subnet registration fees being discussed. Community tools metrics highlighting subnet flow and accumulation. There are a lot of posts that promote Tau as an infrastructure for open source and sovereign enterprise AI, which we've kind of discussed as well. CZ talking about it, Brian Armstrong talking about it, how AI, what's the word? These AI agents are going to be using crypto the most. Like, they're going to be using it more than retail investors are going to be using crypto, because how else will they communicate with each other, especially for payments? It is going to be with, you know, tokens that allow you to use AI, I guess. BitTensor being the biggest one. Fetch AI also benefiting from it, which is now, didn't they convert to artificial superintelligence, ASI? Does it even talk about it here? Not really. But yeah, we did talk about Fetch, we talked about BitTensor and Render, all benefiting from these AI narratives. Huge gains from them, deserved, I guess. Nexo, court filings on Blockfills Chapter 11. I have no idea what this is. Do I even care? Earn programs, third-party providers, modified flexible fixed rate rules, resumed limited US operations, Nexo token payouts. Is this thing even out? I've honestly never heard of this one. Wait, what did it say? Fully collateralized lending model. I have no idea what they're talking about. What's it called again? Nexo? What is this? It exists. It's number 74. Yeah, it's one of these newcomers, I guess. Never mind. August 2018. I've never heard of this, honestly. So I'm not going to trash talk it too much. I don't know much about it. Nexo joins MasterCard Global Crypto Program. Every cryptocurrency has joined MasterCard. Have you seen that? Like, even... I just saw a post today of Chainlink. Being partnered up. Like, they're reposting everything. Bybit, digital assets. They're really bold posting on the crypto stuff. MetaMask, okay. Yeah, that is also using MasterCard, by the way. MetaMask's credit card. We launched an OKX card in Europe with MasterCard. Where's the reposts? September 2025. What? Did they undo repost? I guess. Or I'm sure like they replied and everything. Yeah, they replied to Chainlink. This is the one I saw today. The pizza reference. I guess we kind of get it. The Bitcoin pizza thing. BitGet wallet. Okay. MetaMask card spotted. MasterCard is obviously there with that. BitGo Circle. Oh. Interesting. I don't know what Super is. Transact. They're like replying to everybody that's reposting this. MoonPay. Oh. Aptos, Arc, Ava Labs, Axelar, Banks, Binance, Blockade. I'm missing some. Bybit, Canton. What is this Canton thing? Cosmos, Crossmint, Crypto.com. I don't know what these other ones are. A lot of partnerships. There's Gemini. I know. Did I see Immutable X? Immersive? Oh, Hype? No, Hypernative. Never mind. I thought it said Hyperliquid. Imagine. Hyperliquid card. With MasterCard. Solana's there. And a bunch of other relevant companies. So yeah, big moves, I guess, for MasterCard, if you care. And next, so I guess it's just part of that there, too. What is this? No one cares. South Korea, fined BitHub. $36.8 billion won. Not dollars. 36.8 billion won, which is $24 million. And ordered a 6-month partial suspension over their anti-money laundering violations. Hearing a lot of bad stuff about BitHub. That's not good. They're a crypto exchange. We should be supportive of them. But I guess they're not doing the best. The SEC is preparing a proposal to eliminate quarterly reporting requirements for companies, per the Washington Street Journal. We talked about this idea being thrown around last year. Seems like they are indeed going to try to do this. Would it be great? I don't know. I kind of like the quarterly volatility that we get for some of the stocks, but I mean, it does get pretty overwhelming sometimes. And people are arguing, like, if it comes twice a year, because it's going to be, instead of quarterly reports, it's going to be, I think it's going to be half a year, right? Every half year. What is, or is it going to be 3 times a year? A trimester? Does that make sense? I don't know how to do math. One of the two, either way. The point is, the less frequent it is, the more impactful the news will be, and the easier it is for companies to kind of project, like, yeah, you know what? In another 6 months, yeah, I think the company will be fine. And that way investors could improve their decisions, I guess, on how to invest. I don't know. You do the math. I don't invest in stocks, only some. But I really pay, like, little to no attention to earnings, really. I know there's like stuff that you can do with it, like options, but I've also been, because I was thinking about like options, right? Oh yeah, it could be really good to trade options, especially at times of earnings. But no, they raise the premiums in anticipation. Like they know if you're expecting volatility, the prices of those will rise. So you're basically, and I don't know, what if it doesn't pay off? You're just paying a massive premium or something. But other people are like, yeah, but no risk, no reward, loser. All right. But I just prefer companies that do stuff like this, Block, XYZ, or Meta, for example. They've reported that they will cut 20% of their workforce. They're cutting 16,000 jobs, and that is obviously bullish for the stock, right? I have not looked at Meta stock at all today, but I'm assuming it's bullish. 12% of the company, wait, what? Average Meta compensation is $379,000. That's $6 billion in annual saving. That would equal $191 billion in valuation impact. Meta's market cap is $1.6 trillion. That's roughly 12% of the company. If true, the stock could jump 5 to 12% on the announcement. Didn't it already make a move today, I guess? Oh, I guess it didn't. Was this the big jump? That's pathetic. Do I have Meta? I might. No, I don't. Not anymore. Oh, look where I got out. Look at this trade. Bought over here, sold over here. Right at the top. Wow, that's pretty perfect. Thankfully, I sold off. I should rebuy. I do like Meta. Maybe I will. If I have money. I don't have money anymore in my tax-free savings account. I am maxed out. What is this? So, the best meme coin in existence. All right. That's all the news I have for today. Let's go back to this. All right, kind of relaxing a little bit. Fair enough. We're at our second resistance. Otherwise, I probably would be concerned if we hit 80,000 today. I'd be more concerned than, than what's expected on Wednesday. Let's just hope that we hit this by Wednesday. As God intended, right? Yeah. So, what to expect for tomorrow? Literally nothing. Maybe we could relax our rise a little bit more. Maybe we could gradually rise a bit more. I wouldn't mind that either. I'm just saying nothing at this point. Hold on. Okay. I think we hit a resistance. We are overbought. That's not what I tried to do. We might relax a little bit, But overall, just stay up until the big announcement comes on Wednesday. And then we maybe get the good volatility that we all like to see. If Jerome Powell's comments are great, I don't know, what would the volatility even look like? Something like this, maybe. And then, I don't know, next week we go into ground invasion in Iran, and then we just go to 40,000. Yeah, maybe something like that could happen. God forbid. But I still expect to top out around 80,000 nonetheless. Wednesday is going to be a huge day. I will not be streaming tomorrow, but we will be on Wednesday. Tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day, so we're green or something. I don't know. Why do we even celebrate that? Why did everything just reset? Okay, let me go back to United States, Canada, and Japan. Japan, 3 rate cuts. No, okay. 3 interest rate decisions. There we go. On the same day for Canada, Japan, and United States. All happening on Wednesday. Arguably, Japan is on Wednesday night, but that's still a Wednesday for us, and we'll be live at that time. No, not really. But we're expecting nothing to happen here in Bank of Japan either way. I talked about it yesterday. Biggest impact will be around 2 p.m., 2:30, with Jerome Powell's comments and interest rate decision projections. We're not expecting any rate cuts here either. For Canada, we're also not expecting any rate cuts. But we're still having a press conference here. Does anybody even watch this? Yeah, whatever. Interesting stuff will happen on Wednesday, and we'll be going over all of that. It will also be my day off. Next week, I'm actually switching a shift with another co-worker, so I'm going to be having my day off on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. That's just for next week, though. So next week is going to be a heavy one for me, I think. because, I don't know, Tuesday's going to be like a half day for me because I do stuff in the evening. That's why I don't stream. But then, I don't know, I'm going to have to work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's 4 days in a row. I know, right? Rest in peace to people who work Monday to Friday, 5 days in a row. God forbid. I don't know. It's going to be a weird schedule next week, but I'll be fine. I'll tough it out. I'm getting really tired of it, though. But okay. I must do it. I must suffer for it. It will all pay off in the end. I know that for sure. Alright. So that's all for tonight's stream, guys. My phone is fully charged. Okay. Yep, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe. I'll see you not tomorrow, on Wednesday. Alright? Have a great rest of your evening. Bye.